Jeff Peterson from Heartland Farm Partners is our market analyst this week. U.S. farmers planted more soybean acres in 2016 than ever before. The 83.7 million acres of beans was about a million more than a year ago. Corn growers put in 94.5 million acres, which was the most since 2013. The American wheat area of 50.1 million acres, meanwhile, was the lowest since 1970. Jeff joined us recently to look ahead to the 2017 planting season and how those numbers might shift as spring approaches. Jeff, as we start to look at 2017, where are costs for productions and profitability here for corn and soybeans?
Yeah, this year's all over the board, Jeff, and as we look at it, for guys who are really good at planting soybeans, and based off those good yields, they're looking at beans and saying, you know what, I like these prices, but most of our guys like corn. And even though corn isn't at break even, and honestly for probably 75% of our people, beans aren't at break even right now either, they still like planting those corn acres on most of the acres.
How does the cost of production impact what acres we might see planted in 2017?
I think that comes in to be a big way this year. As you sit back and hear a lot about kind of the cash flow and the situation, the conversations with lenders, that's going to come up a lot. And if there's going to be a change in acres, which we do think there will be, it is going to be driven by the costs. We think that the lenders are going to snug up some people's balance sheets. They're going to snug up their budget and cause them, in many cases, maybe on those corn acres, maybe to cause some of those guys to have to switch over to beans. Also, some of the guys that maybe are a little bit tighter on finances, they're going to have to switch over to some bean acres also.
Tell me the range that you're looking at here, and we're early, so I'm not going to hold you to a specific number here, but the window where you think that we could see corn and bean acres go.
Yeah, what it looks like, the market, I'll start there first, is kind of looking for 3 to 4 million acres, kind of is what the market's looking at. We don't think that's necessarily based on what the farmer's going to do. Our own personal numbers would say, let's bring corn acres down about 2 million. Let's bring bean acres up about 2.5 million. Some of those acres that, as you look at those, aren't balanced. Some's going to come from wheat. We also think you're going to have to take some of the acre reduction in the corn and take it over prevent plant. Just because as we compare to last year, prevent plant numbers were a little bit lower than what you would normally see.
That would include a big scale up for soybeans, which we already saw last year. Can you explain where that demand is coming from while Brazil is still planting big crops?
Yeah, no, and the biggest thing about that is as we look back to production last year, Brazil was off, or South America more correctly was off on their production. Not a lot though, so we picked up some demand from that, but as we go into the 17 crop, it really comes back to China. We're getting year over year growth on the bean demand of about 4 to 4.5%. And really most of that's coming from the demand that China still has for the soybeans, which that's great.
Paint the bigger picture of what's happening down in South America.
Yeah, as we take a look at South America, first of all, starting in Argentina, you know, they're still planting. They've been a little bit dry because the La Nina pattern that we've had out there is giving a little dryness. It looks like they're going to see a little bit of a pattern change in here though. Looks like they're going to pick up some better rains. However, now Brazil is starting to get a little bit dry. Overall, we're going to see production increase there on both the corn and bean side as we bring Brazil and Argentina together.
Right, and Brazil, it appears, is committed to increasing both corn and bean acres.
You know, they really are. They have the acres, they have the infrastructure. We're going to have to watch this dollar versus real relationship very, very close. The strong dollar, you'd all of a sudden say, well, is that helping or hurting us? And overall, I would say that it's hurting us. It's giving us a headwind. But if for some reason we'd see the real increase down there, then in that case, then that would potentially come back to help us. Now, we don't think that's going to be the case, but that's something we have to watch for.
Where are world stocks at right now?
Well, world stocks, the best way to say it, Jeff, is that we've got enough stocks out there to keep a lid on the price, but we don't have so many stocks out there that a weather problem in Argentina, Brazil, the United States, the Ukraine somewhere couldn't cause us to bounce, you know, higher in price. And in particular, what we're really saying is the fact that going into next year is the important thing. We do think we're going to see stocks on a stocks to use basis increase on both corn and soybeans.
You had hinted at this earlier, but how competitive will acres be for wheat, alfalfa, sorghum, cotton, the crops that, you know, normally you wouldn't see prominently in Nebraska?
Yeah, I think what that's going to come up is it's going to be, they're the others. And what I mean by that is they're going to take a little bit of acres in each individual situation, because when we drove this price up, we pulled acres away from those different areas. And now that we're bringing prices back down, those are areas that there's going to definitely be some acres that are going to slide off to. No one in particular, but they'll slide off to all of them.